How'd you do it?
Oh.
Yeah, it's conversation, dude.
We're starting now.
We are constantly told we have to build our brand to be successful. However, all we really need to do is tell our story. In this episode, we talk with everyone's friend, business builder, and NASCAR fan, Nadav Raviv. Here is his story. This is unBRNDed.
So I think I started to try and tell you, and I think you had to take a call. But the opening for this podcast, basically what I say is every business book tells us that we have to build a personal brand to build our business. But all we have to do is just tell our story. We don't have to do anything special. We just have to keep being us. So I'm interviewing people inside and outside of the promotional products industry. You're obviously inside of it. How did you get into the promotional products industry? Yeah. How'd you do it?
Oh.
Yeah, it's conversation, dude.
We're starting now. Well, I'm sure you probably heard the story. Bartending about, 9 years ago. And my mom says to me, this company's hiring. And I said, well, what do they do? Like, logo branded koozies and shirts and pencils and cups. And I'm like, that sounds so stupid. Like, who wants to do that for a living? Selling pencils and koozies. What's next? Erasers? I mean, come on, man. Jesus. And Jeff Grapando, now the president of my division, after I followed him like a puppy dog to 3 places, went into the meeting, and they weren't even hiring, really. They were just kind of feeling me out. And I heard what they were doing and what they were building, and I'm like, it's actually pretty cool. So I had 30 names written down on my nightstand, and about 5 blocks away, and I said, I've got these names written down. If you want me to go grab them, I will. I can at least get a meeting with these people, if nothing else. They are the company was City Paper, and they were about 50-50. Well, I should probably say about 70-30 retail packaging, which is still a promo product if you think about it, branded box or bag, a walking billboard, and then 30%, promo products. And kind of interesting story that I'll tell in a second. But Jeff had been brought in to bolster the promo division. So I went in and I heard what they were doing, and I went to my house, my condo, and I came back and I gave them the list. I said, you can look at it, you can't keep it. So they put me on took them about a month and a half. They actually came back and watched me bartend a couple times, which made me kind of weirded me out. Like one time I'm like, I called my mom, like, they brought this guy in. I don't know who he is, probably some hire. I don't know why they're throwing it in my face like this. I'd never been in corporate before, Turned out he was the CFO of the company, and they were just all watching me interact with clients. Yeah. Jeff had been to the bar a few times, and, we had become friendly. So they ended up extending me the offer and paying me like $200 or $400 a week. I can't even remember what it was, but I was still bartending. I'd go in I would go in to City Paper at 7 in the morning, 7:30. Leave at 4, go set up the bar, and bartend until 9, 10 o'clock at night during the week. And then on the weekends, I would, and I was making good money. So I didn't have a problem making $400 to see what was going to happen with this. Well, 3 weeks in, land Talladega Super Speedway, and they kicked me down to NASCAR. And that was kind of it. I mean, they were like, oh, you got Talladega Super Speedway and you got NASCAR. Let's put you on salary. So that's kind of how that happened. And the way that City Paper kind of transitioned, they were doing bags and stuff like beignet bags for Cafe du Monde. They went to the gift shop and they were like, well, you can put a logo on all this stuff. So can you put a logo on, all the stuff in our aprons and oven mitts? And, it all flourished from there. So City Paper kind of saw the writing on the wall. And I mean, now, retail, it's not a lot of brick and mortars. A lot of people are doing, online sales. So that business is constricting. It's kind of interesting to having seen it from when I was hired to when I left City Paper. I mean, even some of their biggest accounts, some of our biggest vendors, we're not selling direct. Okay, maybe we are to the people who are ordering millions of dollars. Okay, maybe we are to the 500. Okay, maybe we are to the 200,000. And it just kept, getting lower and lower. So their business model hasn't changed, right? I don't know how they're doing now. I think they're doing just fine. Hope they're doing just fine. Well, but whatever. I wish them all the best. But follow Jeff from there to a little hiccup stop in Tennessee. Went to a company in Atlanta. The pandemic hit. Started my own thing. Grew too quickly.
Yeah.
and needed some support from Jeff's company, GBS, my current company. So I allowed Amplify Marketing to be acquired. They were already managing my e-commerce sites for one of my largest accounts. Thank God they were, because I don't have a warehouse, and trying to kit pack all of that in your living room, not your warehouse, or your living room, not fun. And you're thinking like, oh, it's only like 3 touches, 500 kits, and it's like, I'll do this in an hour. Like 6 hours later, you're like, God, that was miserable. So yeah. So here I am now.
So that's the story. That's all the jumps and stuff. I think one of the things that, like, when we tell stories, like I just listened to you tell, it's always the company that you were with. But what was the reason that you were continuing to do it? Why did Nadav want to continue to stay in this business?
Honestly, because people like you. I mean, I hate to fluff you because you already get it enough. But I mean,
I'll pay him later.
Who's to say he's not paying me right now?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I fell in love with the industry. I mean, the people, the camaraderie. Even when you have peers who are competitors. Somebody asked me earlier today, actually. And I said, while I love helping my peers, I'm not going to give them my overseas direct people, because now we're going on big bids, and there's a good chance I'm going against them. But that's probably the only time I would never help. I mean, you've seen me on the professional promo professionals page on Facebook. Yep. Hey, man, this is what I would do. This is what I would do. I would, have you ever considered this company? Have you ever thought about doing this as a product, for whatever event that you're giving the parameters for? Yeah. I don't know if there's a lot of industries like that, where, and I'm sure there's some bad apples out there who don't want to help anybody, or, there's a Google button up there, like, wait, that was you. Don't disagree with it. But,
I may or may not have said that
a million times. But you're right. I mean, sometimes it's just a quick Google search. But, it's like we want to help the people in our industry. I mean, you've always, this is what, our third, fourth podcast?
Yep.
I mean, what was it, like 2 months into my promo world that I met you, and I was in Houston. I drove to Austin and did a video with you, or wherever the heck we were.
Yeah.
And that was when, like, podcasting was first kind of coming out in our industry.
And that was early days of Promo Day, man.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't even think you had an intro at the point.
I don't think I did either. I think we just like
hey,
this.
I'm
we just
Brandon.
started.
What's up, man? How you doing? Promo Day. And now I've got the stickers on all half my shit here.
As well you should. So, like, you said you like doing that. That has to develop from somewhere. So, when you were a kid, like most kids say, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a fireman when they grow up, right? You didn't say, I want to be a salesman.
I want to sell koozies and pens and pencils the rest of my life.
But did you notice, like, now looking back, did you maybe notice some of those things when you were younger that, like, would have led you into this lifestyle?
I don't think so.
Really?
I really don't. I wouldn't say I was always the most creative person. So maybe I kind of had an untapped market there. Well, I mean, I took an art class in high school, and I was actually pretty decent at drawing and like whatever, wax, whatever. I don't even remember oil paintings. I don't even remember finger painting. I could make the little, the handprint and do the turkey for Thanksgiving.
There you go.
With the pine cones, but that was about it. I mean, but now it's like, you really get to a point where you really appreciate it, and you can, I guess maybe it's because I also love the process of things, so I like to learn, how is this done, how is this done, how is that done. I mean, I've told you millions of times, like, when I first started, I wanted to go to the screen printer, because I wanted to go to the mill first, see how the shirts are pulled. My PO comes in, they ship them out. Why does it take 2 weeks? Now they're burning a screen, they're proofing the process, mixing the inks, shipping it out the door. So I've always wondered that, and I guess that kind of understanding the process helps me be more creative. But I wouldn't say that I was super creative at first, but I think that that's my differentiator. Like, I don't, everybody kind of does ask the questions, but do they listen? You know what I mean? So it's like, why are you doing a koozie? Like, everybody does a koozie, and how is this koozie not going to go in that drawer, right? Are we going to have a pocket in it? Are we going to have a QR code, a call to action? What are we doing here? Why a koozie? I mean, what about something else that's going to be more tangible? Right. So it's just kind of like thinking about things, putting myself in that consumer standpoint too. I actually was just having a conversation last week with somebody where I even brought that up. I said, I want to understand your brand from if I was selling it to you if I was you accepting the offer, and if I was your end user, your consumer. So like NASCAR for me is kind of a perfect thing, because when I'm at the track in my capacity as a, as a trackside liaison, as a PR marketing guy for a driver, as a marketeer for NASCAR and their tracks, as a client to, or as a partner to my sponsors, and as a NASCAR avid fan, I'm kind of like everything. And so I kind of think in all these different boxes, what would I want? Well, I need some sunscreen. I need a clear bag because you can't take, other bags in. Definitely need a hat. Definitely need earplugs. What else? Water bottles. So what else are we going to do? And that's kind of the fun thing. And then finding the right partners. Man, that's just about as essential as you could get. Recently there's a company in North Carolina that's been printing all the NASCAR shirts. They're not doing the fulfillment anymore. I'm taking it over because I have that, that way to insert myself in it, still being mindful of, the relationship with the printer. Mm-hmm. But I don't, but I can do certain things that they can't because of my sphere of influence, my network.
Yeah. When you were younger, were you the kid on the playground that made friends or started fights?
Both.
And that's why you can see from both sides.
I was the kid who was going to push you down, but I was the kid who was also going to pick you up. It's kind of like my my college roommate. I remember I used to pick on him all the time. And one day, his mom came in there. She was probably taller than me at the time, but she wasn't very tall at all, maybe like 5'4", 5'6". But she was the fitness instructor. She put my ass on the wall and said, "You're going to be nice to my son." From then on, I was nice to him, and we became college roommates. We still talk to this day. So actually, I think he just had a birthday like this week. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so funny. I always like to try and find the genesis. How did we all get to where we were? Was it something that happened when we were younger? Was it just a building block like Legos that led us into this position? You seem like you've always been a personable guy. Like when you and I first met, we were in San Diego. We had no idea who each other was, but we sit down next to each other and people are like, "Did you guys go to elementary school together?"
Probably.
I
pushed you down on the playground
exactly.
And I picked you up.
But you've always had that knack to be able to make friends. Do you think that your ability to be able to see from all angles has helped you in this business?
Yeah. You're bringing that up. It kind of reminds me of when I was younger. I think I was in Israel with my dad. And I saw this guy eating lunch by himself. And he was smoking a cigarette. It might have been in America. I can't remember at this point. But I went over and sat with the guy because he was sitting by himself. And I remember saying to him, "You shouldn't smoke cigarettes." Like just some random guy. And so here's some little kid, some little 7-year-old, 11-year-old, whatever the hell I was. And I'm like telling him how to live his life, But it's just that I guess I've never really been afraid to talk to people. That's one of the things. You can't be afraid. You got to love to know. You can't be afraid to talk to people. And you have to be honest and personable and transparent. And that's the way I am with my clients. I don't even call them clients. I call them partners. Like they're friends. I'm like, if you want to share how much you're paying, cool. If you don't operate like that, totally fine. But if I can meet it or beat it and it makes sense for us and it makes dollars for everybody.
Starting from high school, going into college, how you develop and you are who you are in your sales realm and in what you do, your brand it's not some cookie cutter thing that you can go read a book and build yourself a personal brand. So how did you come up with what steps did you take to navigate to get to where you are today? Did it just happen on accident or was this purpose built?
So, again, you're bringing up a lot of memories from my past. And I remember when I was stupid young, I started a car wash company. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people do. Yeah. They have the lemonade stand. Yeah. But I took it the distance. We had a logo. Now that I'm thinking about it, we had a logo. Squeaky Clean Car Wash Company. I'm pretty sure it was a turtle on there somewhere. Probably because I like turtles, or probably because the stuff I stole from my parents that cleaned the cars, But I remember we would go, me and my buddies would ride our bikes around the neighborhood with our little bucket, usually using their water, wasting their cleaning their cars so that they're dirtier than they were when we started. But, it's that was my kind of thing. And remember we had flyers. We'd go to people's houses and leave them in their mailbox. Call me. Call my parents' house. Leave a message on the rotary phone if we even had an answering machine. I don't even know if we had answering machines back then. But I mean, it was kind of like that entrepreneur spirit's kind of always been in me. That was first of many failed businesses, or not failed, I should say, because I learned a lot from them.
You have to love to fail, though. In business.
You do, and that brings me to my next one is, I took a job with a buddy of mine doing door-to-door third-party energy sales in California. Worst job I've ever had. Yeah. Literally managing teams of door-to-door knockers who, a lot of them were drug addicts, a lot of them were alcoholics, stuff like that. They were just there for a quick buck. I mean, you can make good money. I mean, you make 10 sales a day, make $300 or something. So you're pretty good. However, I found out it was kind of a scam. Had to get out of that. But before I did, I remember having this one day where it was hot as hell. I almost got bit by a dog. Got yelled at by like 2 or 3 homeowners. It was like noon, standing in a vacant lot. There's a tree, and it was a dead tree. It had no leaves on it, nothing. I'm sitting there calling my mom, damn near in tears. And I'm like, I hate this. I want to come home. This is the worst mistake I ever made. She was a sounding board. I don't even think she said anything. Or maybe she said, okay, Nadav, when it was all said and done. I'm like, you're right. I'm going to go across the street. And I'm going to sell some third-party energy. And I had the best day I ever had. And that right there, that day taught me more than anything. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Nashville walking out of the UPS store, and I saw this guy doing, it's kind of similar, they set up the little table there. And he said, sir, can I talk to you? And I said, no, I'm busy. And then when I backed out, I actually stopped. I said, come here for a second. I said, this is as bad as it gets. Learn everything you can from what you're doing right now, because this is the hardest sales you're ever going to do. Trying to stop people as they're coming in and out with their busy day. You don't have a meeting. You're literally pulling people off the street. So learn everything you can from this moment, from what you're doing now. Take mental notes. And he goes, man, I have been. I said, keep doing it, dude, because this is as bad as it gets.
Yeah. So you learn from those tough things, right?
I mean, it's hot out there, and people don't want whatever the hell you're selling because they're not searching for it.
Yeah.
You're having to give them a reason to buy it.
Yeah. You're
coming to me, hey, Nadav, I got an event, and I've got $20 per person. I need 1,000 of them. Okay, that's easy,
Yeah, I can do that.
Here's a catalog. Go through it, Here, catalog presentation, And again, like when you said earlier, cookie cutter, I don't do anything cookie cutter. Like people say, what's your website? Well, I've got one. Not sending it to you. If you want to go to my website, you're probably not the right person for me.
Right.
Because I want to know, I don't need you going and shopping the millions of items out there. The vendors who aren't third party tested, you didn't see that the reason it's 39 cents is because you have to order 5,000. It's a 6-month turn time. You don't know that I do. I'm going to go with my top 20, top 30 trusted suppliers, and I'm going to get you the best pricing, the best quality, the best turn times. And if something goes wrong, I know I've got my backing from our preferred suppliers.
You've got the backing from your preferred suppliers, right. and I'm backing you, Mr.
Right.
Customer. Like
it's ultimately my fault.
Exactly.
If something goes wrong, I chose the vendor, I chose the product. I said I got you. So don't make a liar out of me. Let me show you what time it is. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of just the way I kind of operate, and I've just kind of embraced the promo industry like that, and like we talked about earlier. I mean, we're going to a baseball game with some of our favorite people later. We're hanging out with them tomorrow night at the, rooftop party. I mean, it's like, heck, they we were talking about something completely different with like CJ from HIT. He invited me to dinner tonight. I'm like, well, going to the baseball game, can't make it, but thanks for the, $200 plate dinner or whatever. I'm sure HIT's not spending that. I'm just kidding.
That's awesome. Your upbringing, so you as a kid, right? We kind of talked about that, but how about your parents? Did your parents, did you see them as a young kid, working super hard? And what was it like for young Nadav to watch his parents come in and out of the house?
Well, I didn't really watch them come in and out because usually with them. So my dad is, he's 90 now, but 5 a.m. wake up, 7 o'clock work, doesn't come home till 7 o'clock at night. My mom, director of my school, so she was there with me the whole time, pretty much. If she couldn't bring me home, my dad would bring me home. So usually with them all the time. I mean, I remember days that I was I wasn't the fastest kid. I'm not the most athletic, but I was, captain of my soccer team because I was the last kid at the school every day. So I was at the gym or I was out on the soccer field by myself, kicking the ball against the wall, punting it, running, half field, shooting in the goal, doing it again, doing it again, doing it again, doing it again, doing it again. There was nothing else to do, So I honed my skills. And so, yes, I've seen my parents work their asses off.
Yeah.
And, everything that they do, I always say my grandfather and my dad are my heroes, and my mom and my grandmother are my role models.
There you go.
So I've got some pretty big shoes to fill, but I've also got some really killer people to follow behind.
Yeah.
These legacy that they've left behind. Yeah. I have no choice but to succeed.
Yeah. Have you said that to them, to their face?
Oh, absolutely. Put it on my dad's 90th birthday cake last week.
No way.
It said, to our favorite hero, or our hero and our favorite dad.
That's
I tell him that all the time. I mean, he, flew in the Israeli Air Force. He was there when Israel was created as a state. He's seen things that we would never imagine seeing.
Yeah.
And he is one of the nicest, most level-headed, chilled guys. Sometimes I think he's out to lunch, but, but he's earned everything he's got, and so now he's got a Blackstone. I bought him one for his birthday, so now he's definitely out to lunch and eating, but at least he's cooking it himself.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? So have you always looked for the next step, or do you just kind of keep going until you feel like you plateau and then find something next?
Man, that's a great question. I kind of want to, when you say that, the first thing that comes to my mind, and it shouldn't be, but it's more of a financial benchmark for me.
Okay.
Not personally, but work quotas.
Yeah.
I want to. I'm doing really well now. I want to hit a 5 million mark, and then I want to hit a 10 million mark. If I hit the 10 million, I'd love to go for 25.
Jesus.
I'm not saying it can happen. That's a lot. It's really wishful thinking, but I'm always that one who wants to, reach for more. But during that, I'm not, me, I'm not a paperwork guy. I'm not a sales process guy. I absolutely hate, we're having sales process training. And while some of it sticks, I'm always constantly listening to podcasts and stuff like that to up my game. Right. But, sometimes, when you put it into that, I always say the law professors are the ones who couldn't hack it in the real world. Like they always say, so I feel like sales professors are like the ones who couldn't really sell. So don't tell me what you're doing, because I don't need it. I'm doing just fine. Of course, you can always learn, right?
Right.
So I have
what is it? Those who can do, those who can't teach.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So right. Exactly. So I'm learning a lot from that, but I always want to help the younger reps, and that's why I'm bringing 2 of them, 3 of them here to this show. I said to my bosses, we just had 3 weeks of intense training with this, and we still ongoing at continuing education. It was a couple day series thing, but now they have to learn about promo products. So the sales process, how to open the door, but what the hell are they selling?
Yeah.
Right. And that was a big thing for me, and I kept saying, okay, but now what's next? What's next for them? I know these products. For me, this is solely to hang out with y'all and get better relationships and better pricing and better, doing the vendor relation stuff. But for them, this is complete education. So I'm not doing my vendor relations thing this week. I'm doing, well, of course I will, after hours.
Yeah.
That's where the relationships are really built. I saw you drunk, and now you're giving me a free setup. Or else I'm telling your mom.
I think that's called blackmail.
No,
Nadav.
it's called no setups. Per Brandon. But for during the day, I'm going to take them around. I'm going to show them my sales, my not my sales process, my process for doing trade shows. Here's, we're going to walk through. We're going to see certain vendors. We'll stop, and ones that we want to see, want to talk to. Mm-hmm. We all have meetings set up with the ones that we really want to see, our top preferred. Mm-hmm. And then, take the picture, see the item, take the picture of the whole booth, see the item, take a picture of the item. If it's that important, you write it down with the potential client's name, and then what the product is, and then shoot that that logo right away so they can, get it in the works. I mean, I there was somebody from HPG earlier posted something. I'm like, hey, before the show even starts and you show this product to anybody, here's this logo. Let's go. Let's see what's MOQ on custom PMS colors. So let's get the ball rolling before the shit hits the fan here.
Yeah. So you have a monetary goal. Do you have like a personal goal for your like personal life that is in tandem with that? Because a lot of people talk nowadays, work-life balance was a huge thing that came out in COVID, right? Everybody's talking about, do I live at home or do I live at work, right? Like, or do I work from home or do I live at work? And it's how does Nadav balance that? Because it seems like you're always on.
I am. Adderall. I'm just kidding. Lots of coffee. So a lot of my friends look at me and they're like, Nadav, when do you work? And I'm sitting there saying, even my dad said that one time, and I'm like, when don't I work? That's my question. But I'm okay with that because my life kind of is like a vacation. I literally get to shop for other people with their money. Yeah, sometimes it's tedious. Sometimes you have to do the this and the that. But when a new project comes in, especially for my favorite clients, I'm like, oh, great, this is cool, like fun. Let's go find some cool stuff or figure out a cool way to decorate or, something that's going to really wow them. For instance, like the upside down logos on hats right now. I'm hitting everybody with that. I'm like, this is, like they were selling those hats for $50 at the Speedway, National Speedway. All the other hats were like $30 and people were buying them. So it obviously hits a chord. So, it's finding those cool things to get out to them. But, what were we talking about? To like personal goals and
yeah. Like when does Nadav work-life balance?
Yeah. So I mean, it's like I go to a NASCAR race weekend, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm standing there with CMOs, marketing managers, marketing directors, logos everywhere on cars, on shirts, on fire suits. I've got direct access to them. I don't even have to, ask for a meeting. I'll have Kyle Busch or Jeffrey Earnhardt introduce me to him right away. Nadav, this is my buddy. I have clients now at the races. Hey, this is Nadav. He did these badass hats for us. You should talk to him because you should have him do your promo. Hell, I met with the CMO of that company I was just talking about. I mean, they're a 10,000 employee company, And of course, as a NASCAR partner and as a partner in life, I'm introducing them to Hit Promo because their services can help Hit. I'm introducing them to our company because their service can help us. And then when they get us in rotation, start ordering more products for them, the Rolodex is coming out, So I get to hang out as I'm working. It's like I don't have weekends, and that's okay. What was it? Promo never sleeps,
Yeah, there it is. Okay, that's right. I was trying to get there, and you landed right on it. That's okay. So yeah, your hashtag promo never sleeps. It literally never sleeps.
Right. Well, I take that back though. So when I had Amplify marketing, I had a great girlfriend at the time, really good life, making a ton of money. I mean, because everything was profit. Me and my laptop and my ASI number. That was it. So, but I'm noticing that I'm 6 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Front of office, back of office. You just can't do that. No. Not for an extended period of time. Yeah. So I guess I did have to alter a little bit, but I've never really looked at what I do as work. I mean, I went to a country concert this weekend with the sole premise of making my sphere of influence bigger. What does that mean? Does that mean it's going to be a monetary gain? I don't know. Maybe. How can I monetize that? I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I also want to throw concerts. I also want to be in with these people. There may be a time when they're like, hey, Nadav, dude screwed up our hats. Can you get us 500 hats tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Sure. Why not? We'll figure it out. So everything's an opportunity. I mean, I remember, being out at bars when I used to drink at like 2 a.m, still out. And somebody would be like, oh, like you do promo? Well, we need, and I'm like, work mode, I'll be drunk in 5 minutes, but let's talk shop real quick. So everything, our industry is cool like that because everybody works for a company with a logo, or else you don't have a job, right? But I mean, they might not be the right point of contact, but there's still opportunity there, you know? So I think that our industry is a little bit easier to have a fun work-life balance. You know, you can take the client on the golf course. You can take them to Topgolf. You can take them to a NASCAR race. I mean, how many of my clients have I taken to NASCAR races or to a Wicked show or to whatever, and just having fun on, you know, or $400 lunch. May or may not have bottles of wine. I don't know, you know, but I mean, it's like that's how our industry is, and you can either have fun with it and embrace it. But you're right. I mean, you do have to set aside time. Like, I've realized in relationships now, I put my phone down during dinner because when I'm here with you, that's it. I mean, because I have to give you all my attention now. Unless I might premise it like, speaking of a Wicked show, I remember one night it was like 9 o'clock on a Friday, and I'm under my buddy's a tour manager for them, so I'm in the sound booth, and I'm under the table, like telling the guy next to me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll turn it a little bit less bright, but I got to get this order now because it's 9 o'clock, and if I don't order it now, I'll miss the date. So, you know, we do have times like that, but that's few and far between.
Yeah.
And if it's not, you're not doing something right.
Can you turn off? Can you go on vacation? Do you think you would ever be able to do that?
Don't ask me that. I mean, no, I don't think I can. I get antsy. I get anxious. Like, I don't sleep past like 8 o'clock. If I do, first of all, that's 9 o'clock East Coast time. That bothers me. And I'm like, I'm missing something. I mean, I do have my weekends, you know, where I'm just chilling. Yeah. But if it's during the weekday, I don't know, probably not. I mean, I'm still, you know, it's funny, but it reminds me of like when I go to the beach and I'm like, you know, I get up before everybody else, cook everybody breakfast, you know, then I'm like, hey, y'all go get the coolers ready and stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of work. All right, Nadav, we're ready to go. And I'm like, okay. Anybody need to go to the bathroom? Okay, did you check the ice? Is it cold enough? You know, just
got 2 more emails.
Yeah. And then, all right, y'all are done. Be done in a minute. You know, and, I mean, but you have your phone, right? And you have access. You know, it's like when people don't really respond within, I don't know, 24, 48 hours, unless something's really wrong. I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
At least in them, hey, I got this. You know, let me know. You know, somebody said the other day, I was talking to a girl, and she said something about, like, this guy hasn't texted me in 24 hours, but he liked your story. And I'm like, it takes just the same amount of time. He's sitting there scrolling. He can send you a text. That takes 5 seconds. Yeah. Hey, babe, sorry, busy, thinking about you. You know, great time the other night, miss you. Yeah. We should hang out again soon. Yeah. And I'm like, the dude's not worth it. You know, if he can like your story, but he can't even send you a quick text, he's not the one. You know, so it's like, I always think about things like that and maybe that's why a lot of my clients gravitate towards.
Do you carry the same energy across all parts of your life, in business, personal, family?
Except for when I'm sleeping.
Your dog?
Actually, I don't sleep very well, so I probably have the energy there too. Yeah, dude, I mean, Mongo's the best. How could you not have that energy with him? He's the one who keeps me young. But yeah, I think I do. I mean, I've just always been high energy. I mean, you know, you only got so much time on earth, you know, get the most out of it.
Exactly. Hey, so we're going to start winding down here, but one thing that I have been hammering this storyline is that you're always on. The other term that everybody always talks about with this newer generation, they talk about work-life balance and then burnout.
Yep. Knew that was coming.
So where is it? Do you see that, Cliff? Do you see that?
So I do, and I keep it in the very distant view. My mom even said something about it today to me, because I said August is going to be brutal. I've got 2 trips to Ohio. I've got 2 NASCAR races back-to-back weekends. Just found out one of my NASCAR sponsors, JP Graziano's right over there, the Hot Jardinier. He's coming to Nashville for a couple days, maybe longer. My month is gone. It's gone. But, you know, there was about about 2 months ago where I had a month at like 35-day stretch, and I was supposed to have a 10-day break. My mom breaks her hip. So she's like, you remember when you were an asshole to me? And I'm like, yeah. Do you remember that I also spent 35 days on the road sleeping out of a suitcase? And I was supposed to be home for 10, but you decided to break your hip. She goes, well, I didn't know that. And I said, well, I didn't know it either, But I'm like, I love you, Mom, and I'm okay with taking care of you because that's my job, So I see what's coming, and I'm going to make sure that I have those days. I mean, there's some days, I'll be honest, I'll take a Saturday and a Sunday just to do absolutely nothing. When I can take those days to just chill at home, just, hang out with the dog, not go out, not talk to anybody, I'm going to take those. I mean, I had just recently, we had, I can't remember before Nashville, but we had 3 days of the Nashville race, which is a big lead up to that race too. Then we had the race in Chicago, and then it was like I came home and I'm like, and then I had Rock the South, a country concert last weekend. So I knew I had this little weekend where I could do nothing. I did nothing.
Awesome.
Yeah, you have to.
Recharge batteries.
Recharge, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, your batteries are very long lasting and they're huge. You must have a crazy fast charger because.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got one of your chargers with the logo on it, but I mean, it's you just keep going with it, and like I said, rest when you can.
Yeah.
If Energizer wants to, make a commercial out of me, I'm more than happy to have them pay me, or just give me. Well, I don't really need batteries anymore. I don't know what I use batteries for. Everything's rechargeable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So next generation, right? So we talked about the terms that they use, right? The work-life balance, the burnout. The next generation, how are you being somebody who is, you're halfway into your career, I think both of us are looking at another 10, 15, 20 years of working, maybe hopefully less. Let's make a lot of money quick so we don't have to. But how are we helping them and getting them set up? Because I think that we're in a pretty decent generation right now where we're used to the old way, the pen and paper way, but we're also used to the very digital age. I heard you talk about your friend and the formalities of texting back and forth, but what are some things, what are 3 things that you could give to the next generation to help them be like Nadav?
Well, one thing, and I don't know if you can give this, but is work ethic. I don't see. I hear the stories about wanting to do a 4-day work week and all this kind of stuff. All these people are being kind of pampered, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know what the deal is. People haven't returned to their jobs from the pandemic. How are they making money? I have no idea. But you can't be lazy. I mean, you have to wake up earlier, run harder, faster. I mean, if that's your cup of tea, if you just want to get through life, fine. So be it. That's you. But I'm not going to spend my time on you if you're not going to try to match my energy or at least act like you are, because I mean, there's only so much time in a day, and I find that extra hour somehow, some way, but I'm not gonna waste it on somebody who's not going to reciprocate, and I don't have the time, because when I do have that time, I'm going to take it to recharge, like we were just talking about. So I guess realizing the real ones out there, more than happy to give them as much time as they really want, as long as they're engaged and they're reciprocating, they're wanting to learn and know more. Bring me on a meeting with you. I don't care if you work for a different company. I'll sign an NDA. You want me to go on a meeting with you because you're a badass? Hell yeah, I'll go with you. If you want me to just be arm candy and shut the hell up, that's fine. Tell you what koozie to use. Fine, whatever. So I guess that's one. 2 is, just don't be afraid to hear the word no. I mean, when you hear the word no, if you hear get the hell out of my office, fine, bye. But
that's a little different.
Right.
No.
But I mean, if they say no or not yet, continue to press, and feel the room. I mean, you have to, don't say what else? Not right now. Okay, maybe in a couple of weeks I'm gonna hit you up, see what you're doing. And then 3rd thing is, just be a good person. Be personable to people. You get so far in life just by being the real you. Yeah. People smell bullshit all the time, and if you go into a room thinking that you're going to own it with a lie, you're sadly mistaken. Just be you. Just be real.
I love that. I love that last piece. I think that's obviously the genesis of this podcast, right? Is a brand, a personal brand is not something that you can just cookie cutter create. It's your story and it's who you are. If you're a good person, you have a good brand. And I think that's fantastic. I've heard you say on stage, friend.
Was it the stripper stage?
I don't think it was there.
Damn it.
Again, I think that's called blackmail.
They said they should shut up and look pretty, and I'm like, well, I can't shut up, and I definitely can't look pretty.
But I've heard you say on stage that you have friends, right? Work friends, NASCAR friends, right? I've heard you say that. Can you differentiate between friends and clients, or do you just keep it all together and just try to find the opportunity in everything?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
So I like, you can tell, if you can read people, you can tell who wants to be, friendly with you and who just wants to order some stuff from you. And both are fine. Don't get me wrong. I feel that if you have the personal relationship with them, it's a lot better and it's a lot easier. There's a trust level there. I know their kids' names. Going back to my first bartending job at a country club, I knew what their kids ate. I knew what they ate. I knew what they drank. I knew what their wives drank. I know their name. I know their member number. I know what holes their favorite at the golf course. I know their kids love to swim or love to play soccer. I know that with my clients today. How's little Jimmy doing? Is Tiffany doing cheerleading still? Wonderful. That's awesome. Great. I know Simone Biles, and maybe I'll get her an autograph. Stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or they love Wicked. We'll send them to a Wicked show. Or if they want to come with me to a NASCAR race. So it's like, the more you know about them, the more comfortable you are with them, the more they trust you, and the better the relationship is. I mean, it's kind of like having a contract with them. It's like, we always say, hey, if we can get the e-commerce site, they're kind of locked in. You don't have to have an e-commerce site when you're friendly with them because you're locked in. They don't want to go anywhere else. But I mean, you also have to do, your due diligence. You have to make sure that you're giving them the right products, the right time frame, the right pricing, and then always be creative and always be on, I guess. And that's why. I mean, in our industry too, you have to be on, because I've seen products enter our industry and are shown to some of my clients before I even know that product exists, because some of the vendors are seeing the retail trends in China before they come over here. Mm-hmm. So when I'm out at the beach and I see a cabana pop-up tent as opposed to just a regular pop-up tent, that could be something cool for one of my clients. How do I get my hands on that? Mm-hmm. I'll see this on Instagram, and I'll be like, your product here. Are you in the promo space? If not, how do we get you in the promo space? I've helped, people like Blendy, people like Link, like the business card. They're a hit client now. Blendy was with Hirsch, now they're with Starline. Yeah. These are conversations I had with people who are entering the industry. I'm not a product development guy. I'm not a product procurement. I'm not working for the vendors. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I do know people. Yeah. That's all I need to know.
Because people buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? So you built the trust with the friendship part. Know you're a friend, and if they're your friend, they like you.
And I'm trying to help you.
So you
here's
get
a cool
all three
product.
of those.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's a cool product.
If they succeed, you succeed.
Right. I look better. What do I mean? Does that mean I get better pricing? Maybe. I mean, cool, wonderful. Do I get a free Link card? Do I get a free Blendy? Cool, wonderful. But it doesn't mean that I have to monetize that. I could just be it for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I helped this guy. Wonderful. Feather in my cap. Makes me look like my mom and my grandfather, and my dad and my grandmother.
One of the things you said earlier is just been sitting in my brain, and I think I'm just going to try and figure out a way to say this, but you were talking about how you don't send people to your website or to a catalog because you want to help them with the products. How do you stay on top of the trends to make sure that they're put into the right products? Or like you said, the upside down text that's reversed, right? That became a huge trend all of a sudden. How do you stay ahead of that?
Well, you just got to look for it. Yeah. One of the things, I don't use TikTok, but that's probably a good way to do it. But I'd use Instagram a lot, and I'll see stuff on Instagram. Also, stay close to your suppliers. Stay close to the vendors. You're talking to them they have a new product coming out. Heck, I saw one this morning. You know, it's probably going to be in the new product showcase, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I've seen it 24 hours before them. That can mean the world of difference. You know, now I've got a virtual going. Now I've got a pre-pro sample going. And they don't even know what this is yet. So you always have to be looking at things. And I mean, you know, even when you're mindlessly scrolling through social media, you just have to like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I can do that, you know.
Is it a mix of your vendor and your buyers? Do you talk to your buyers about like what they're looking for? So they come to you for, we want some drinkware. Do you ask them, well, what have you seen? What do you like?
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's kind of one of my pickup lines, if you will. You know, hey, if you're ever at a trade show and you see something, you know, take a picture of it. Send me a picture of it. I think I can find it. If you can get the tag off the inside, hip on a shirt, or if you can, get the bottom of a tumbler, send that to me. And, if you like that, and now we can start having a conversation. Here's another product like that. And of course you want to do the good, better, best with everything. Yeah. So, yeah. And when I say I don't send them to a catalog, I like to actually make the catalog. I use Common SKU, so I make them like a lookbook, if you will.
I think everybody who's listening understood what you meant by that. You're not an online e-commerce person, right? You're hands-on, know, like, and trust. You're in their life.
Bring the vendors to them. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the best ways to do it. I mean, One of my favorite stories is working with BBVA Compass, which is not around anymore. I can't remember who bought them, but who did buy them? PNC bought them. But, I had monthly meetings with them where I'd bring in a vendor. And one month, Crown came in, Imagine Brands, brought this stupid little blue wallet that had RFID technology. And I'm like, this thing. They ordering like 150,000 or 200,000 of them. But they were doing it for an elderly campaign where they were going to kit it with a card of some sort. I actually helped them kit it, like, personally, for free. Yeah. Because she's in the warehouse by herself doing it with her daughters. Nadav, you want to come have a party? Yeah, sure, why not? Why not? Of course I want to hang out with you, But I mean, she's not even a buyer anymore, and we still are friends. I still talk to Darlene. I still talk to her kids. I still keep up with them, their whole family. So, I mean, she works at like the special camps with like, special needs people. And like, I think it's great. I'll donate to their cause every now and then. So, you just have to kind of be selfless too, just always staying vigilant.
Last words, dude. What do you want to say to everybody?
Go Cubs, go.
I'm going to edit that out.
I don't know. I mean, just, be real, be you, be humble, but be assertive, at the same time. Listen to people, take everything in, always kind of look for and see the intangibles, and that will really help you be a better person and a better sales rep inside and outside of business. I mean, the person you are when you wake up in the morning, continue being that person the rest of the day. Don't discount yourself or any of your efforts. Just be you, be real.
That's it, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dude.
Anytime, my man. Let's go, baby. Go Cubs, go.
Thank you for listening to Nadav's story. Check back next month for another episode of unBRNDed.